Interiors.
It'll be warm and fairly sunny for the rest of the evening. A few showers are possible later tonight. Otherwise, lowest temperatures of 10 to 13 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the Ball.
In association with the Air Sport app, allowing you to cast your favourite sporting action from your tablet or mobile phone straight to your TV.
This is News Talk.
Yes, hello Off the Ball friends, it's Joe here on this glorious sunny evening. We hope you're having a good time. On tonight's show, we'll be talking about the weekend's hurling, as you can imagine. Tommy Dunn and Dottie Regan with us. Tipperary coming back from the dead. I think we all wrote them off at half-time. And then Galway putting down a very serious marker against Kilkenny in Pearse Stadium. We'll have Colm Cooper in studio. Chat with the great man coming up around 8:30 or so. At 8 o'clock, just before that, Shane Jennings and Eddie O'Sullivan on Leinster's brilliance. And Liverpool fans, it won't be fun, but we'll be delving very, very deep into the Champions League final, especially after 9. Gary Breen will be with us. We'll ask Gary if he recognises the old Sergio Ramos tactics. Pat Nevin's off tonight. And if that's not enough sport, Ireland play France this evening in Paris. 53106, the text number. We're on Twitter at Off the Ball. We have Will here in studio. Hello, Will.
Evening, Joe.
And Kevin Kilbane, good evening to you.
Hi, Joe. All good?
All good. What a weekend. There's just too much sport going on at the moment.
There is
too much to keep track of.
Far too much has happened this weekend, isn't there? That's the thing.
Yeah. So, well, lots going on. Obviously, Carlo had a great weekend.
Yeah.
Started off in Division 4. They've beaten Louth by 11 points.
Yeah.
Then Kildare, come on over. Kildare, obviously, Division 1 team, had a bad league campaign. These things happen. They're still commonly regarded as the second best team in Leinster, certainly behind Dublin. And Turlough and the boys swat them aside.
And there's a hand in there from the Kildare man, but it's gone to John Murphy. Look who's coming forward, Horse Lawler. He can wrap it up until Tullamore. Horse goes for the shot. It's a goal to the side. What a goal! Oh my word! Carlo blowing Kildare away. They've blown them away in Tullamore. The Kildare crowd are leaving. They thought they were playing no one today. They wrote us off on Twitter. They wrote them off everywhere. 214 to 110. This is Carlo's day. I hope we're enjoying this one.
I think we are. How dare they write us off?
I love how nobody ever gets bigged up on Twitter. It's always they wrote us off on Twitter.
How dare they write off us Division 4 Carlo types. Now up to Division 3. So an amazing job Turlough O'Brien is doing. I get Turlough and I get Turlock.
I think both are acceptable.
Right, okay.
I think most people call him Turlough, but I was actually talking to one of the Carlo journalists after the game yesterday. They were heading out to Tullamore, and I heard
Turlough, but I forgot. I mean, it's kind of hard to get too excited about it this evening.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of it.
Sacrilege to say that, Kev.
You're speaking to the wrong man when you're saying that, Joe. You know that. But
you could hardly sleep last night.
Well, you know, do you know what it is? I'm actually looking at this idea. I always think about these sort of friendlies when there's a major tournament, you've not gone to a tournament, and the lads that have turned up, and they've got to maybe try and educate some of the players that are coming into the side that are lacking experience. They're looking ahead. They're looking for the friendlies and the competitive friendlies that we've got coming up. So it's about that mixture tonight and what the new lads that come into the squad are doing, or the inexperienced players and the experienced lads that's around the tide as well.
Well, this is effectively breaking news. I know Will's going to bring us what some of the players were saying in the build-up, but you've got the team there, Kev. Give us the shape.
Yeah, I don't want to steal his thunder. There's potential for another 3 at the back with Declan Rice. Will has given me his sort of side, and I think he's probably right. I think Declan Rice will probably sit in a 3-man midfield there tonight.
Give it to us then.
We've got Colin Doyle in goal. I think we're going to play with the back 4 of Seamus Coleman, Shane Duffy, Kevin Long, Derek Williams across the back. Declan Rice, I would imagine, and if he's not playing in a 3-man defence, he'll sit in as a holding midfielder alongside Alan Brown and Callum O'Dowda. It just makes more sense to the balance of the side. And then you've got John Walters, James McLean either side of Shane Long up front. I think that's what he's going to do, because if he's playing with a 5 across the back tonight, that means you're playing with Alan Brown and Callum O'Dowda. Still relatively inexperienced. It doesn't look to me like a real strong midfield with a lot of actual defensive nous in there that's going to be able to defend against that real strong midfield line that France are going to be putting up tonight, that'll be able to keep the ball. So I would imagine he'll go with Declan Rice as a holding midfielder.
I think O'Neill said most of the week as well, he's happy enough to try Rice out in midfield, as he did in Turkey for parts of that game too.
Yeah.
Like, I'd imagine John Walters and McLean will play reasonably far back. I would say Shane Long will probably spend most of the night occupying himself.
It will be 4-5-1. You look at it from an attacking point of view, saying 4-3-3, because of James McLean and John Walters are attacking players, but those two in particular will be sat very deep at times alongside O'Dowda and Brown in midfield. Yeah.
So just because radio can be tricky and there's some unfamiliar names there. Give us what you think is the team again from
well, I think it'll be Colin Doyle in goal. It'll be Seamus Coleman right back, Shane Duffy and Kevin Long, the two centre halves, with Derek Williams at left back.
What kind of player is Derek Williams?
He's played a majority of his time at centre half, left footed, can play at left back. So he's had a good season at Brentford there. So I think he's one again. It's experimental. We don't know how he's going to get on against this calibre of players tonight. So he's coming in tonight with a point to prove, not necessarily his most natural position as well, but it just suggests to me that you're looking for a more narrow back four. You're going to have a back four sitting in there. So it could be one. I mean, potential as well. You could play Derek Williams as a three-man defensive line-up centre halves, and you actually play James McLean as a wing back with Seamus Coleman. That's another option as well. That we look at it. We'll gauge it as the game kicks on.
Then midfield. If we go with your back four.
If we go with that back four, Declan Rice, Alan Brown and Callum O'Dowda. So obviously Declan Rice will know of the West Ham, who's had a very good season at West Ham. Alan Brown, who plays at Preston North End. He's played predominantly as an attacking midfielder this season. He's been playing as a 10 at times for Preston, particularly in the second half of the season. He scored 9 goals this season at Preston, had a good season. Callum O'Dowda, who you would know, Joe, as well, he's been around the squad for a long time at Bristol City, so he's one. Yeah. He's played on the right-hand side, he's played on the left-hand side, predominantly a left-hand side midfielder. That's where he likes to play, but he's a left footer. Shane Long will play directly through the middle. We know how he'll play it with John Walters and James McLean. So that's how I think
it's going to shape up.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll be watching that game across the evening. It's on TV. We are here with Air, the home of Air Sport. Get amazing live sporting content free with Air Broadband. And Will, you've been looking through some of the pre-match thoughts from various...
Yeah, well, we know that Derek Williams is definitely making his debut. There's 6 other players in the squad who could potentially get their first caps if they're brought on, including Graham Burke and Shane Supple, both plying their trade in the League of Ireland at the moment. And Seamus Coleman says at the moment it feels like a dawn of a new era for the Irish team. There are 7 on-cap players in the squad for that friendly against the Euro 2016 runners-up France in Paris. Coleman says there's a fresh feeling in the group following their World Cup playoffs disappointment.
Definitely feels like there's been a bit of a change, with the new players coming in. We still have some from the last campaign, and I think it's so important for us to show them new lads coming in what's expected, on the training pitch when we put on the jersey to play for our country, and even what's expected around the hotel. And they've been great, and it's up to them to step up and show they deserve to be at this level, and I'm sure they will. But there's definitely a bit of a change, but the objective stays the same, and we want to win every game possible and qualify.
The Ireland manager Martin O'Neill meanwhile says it's a good chance tonight for the new players to catch the eye.
They are considered a top nation in the world of football, and have been now since I would have said Platini way back in 1982 World Cup, in which Northern Ireland played them, and they were outside Brazil. I thought that they were as good as anybody in the competition. If I was playing in this game for the Republic of Ireland, I wouldn't be considering winding down for the match. I would consider this a great honour to be playing in this game, particularly if I've had 1 cap or no caps or 3 caps. And therefore that there is very, very important. It would be really important for my progress as an international player to see where I stand in the in football. And I think you could not get a stronger motivation.
Yeah, I just need to clarify that one. Derek Williams actually at Blackburn Rovers, so I've messed up there, sorry, before. But he's played at left back, centre half. Left back is where he has played throughout. So you're making a massive step up here. So you've played majority of your season, it's League 1 football. Sorry, you've been promoted with Blackburn this season, but what a step up it is for him this year as well to get in there. So yeah,
okay, we'll see how he goes.
Yeah,
we'll bring in the French team in a few minutes as well. So please, no moaning by Premier League supporters, says this texter. Real Madrid, Premier League's more Liverpool maybe. Real Madrid won ugly. Don't tell me Liverpool weren't aware of Ramos's style of play. Pure Premier League. If he played at Anfield, he'd be a legend. And time to acknowledge Zidane as the superb manager.
It's a great point with that, though, isn't it?
Is it?
What, with Ramos? I'm not being funny. Were you saying...
Well, they're saying, don't tell me Liverpool weren't aware of Ramos's style of play. That doesn't mean you have to...
no, but I think the point being is like the Ramos is... If Ramos was playing for you and he'd done the things that he did, and he has done, then you're going to admire him for what he's done.
Well, was that not a bridge too far? Would you not find what he did to Salah a touch too cynical, a touch too dangerous, a touch too deliberate?
Yeah, I don't
stand over that.
I don't.
Like, did we all stand over Roy Keane on Alfie Inga Haaland? Lots of people did, but I think a lot of us said that's just a bit too far. Now,
Yeah,
that was
that's
worse.
slightly different,
That was
though.
worse than what Ramos did, for
well, I would
sure.
say something that we haven't seen. We've had Graham Souness on the show. Graham Souness broke the jaw of an opponent.
Yeah.
We spoke about it. We've said, oh, that's what it takes to win big European ties. And in fairness, we've laughed about it. We have. I know we didn't get the footage of it, but we've heard about it. It was at Steaua Bucharest, I think it was.
Yeah.
And so we spoke about, if you're talking with Liverpool players, you're talking about
Suarez.
Yeah, of course. So Suarez is the ultimate player for gamesmanship, isn't he? That's the thing.
Well, regardless of that, okay. How deliberate was the Ramos effort on Salah?
I'm convinced he didn't mean to do what he's done, and i.e., dislocate his shoulder, break his collarbone, whatever injury he has sustained. But he knew exactly what he was doing when he actually obviously locked his arm in between his body and his arm. So with him doing that, he knows full well in dropping on him the full force of what he's done. He knows there is potential for an injury there.
Damage, yeah.
Of course it is, and there's no getting away from that fact.
Yeah,
but
that'd be my exact
Ramos has done this. It'd be just what they're saying there. They know exactly what Ramos is about because Ramos has done this so often. You only need to look.
What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, but did you see Liverpool's equaliser?
But I just don't understand the texter's point or why that's a great point. Like, so we know Ramos does this. What does that have to do with anything?
Well, no, but you know exactly
It's
what.
not like Salah can say.
Well, I'm not saying. What I'm saying is, though, you know exactly what Ramos is all about, though. You know exactly what Ramos is all about before you're going into a final or any single game that Ramos is playing.
But I don't see how that somehow means Liverpool fans or Liverpool players or Mo Salah could still not find themselves slightly aggrieved.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. Of course, you know for a fact it's wrong in what he's done.
Yeah.
But this is what Ramos has done across the course of his career. He's made his name by doing this sort of thing in big moments in matches. What I was going to say, you only need to look. Did you see the goal, Liverpool's equaliser, as Dejan Lovren's gone up above him? He's screaming, holding his head like he's been injured. He's doing that again, and just when he gets out, jump for the goal. This is a he's done this, as I say, continuously through his career, and particularly in the big matches that kind of riled you up even more because you know that he's having an influence on matches with what he's doing with his play acting.
Does the party admire Ramos in the way he goes?
No, I don't admire him. I genuinely don't admire him because it would wind me up unbelievably playing against him.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely wasn't that sort of player that would have partook in that sort of thing, and it would have wound me up. But the simple fact is, it's referees, it seems, aren't aware of it because they don't seem to pull him up on it. They don't seem to pull him up on this play acting, knowing full well. I mean, it was more the assistant had a better angle on the side. The assistant referee had on the side that should have actually clocked what Ramos was doing in that moment, but they don't. They simply don't. They're not able to clock it.
This season he picked up, he's closing in on 280 yellow cards across all competitions, which is a record, more yellow cards than anyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, as someone reviewing the papers yesterday, Kieran Cunningham said some players don't get 280 games. He's managed 280 yellow cards. They really should have spotted what happened though, because it was just so
it was
obvious that he just held on and he dragged him into the ground and put his force into him. And okay, you can say, I'll just finish the point.
Yeah.
You can say he mightn't have meant to dislocate his shoulder. I don't think you can predict what injury is going to happen in that situation, but you know, as you're holding tight onto Salah and going down to ground with him and rolling into him, you know something could happen. You're kind of rolling the dice here. At worst, I'm going to badly intimidate him. At best, I'm going to put him out of the game.
Yeah, but how many times have we seen it that these sorts of incidents dictate the outcome of big games? Liverpool were brilliant for the first half an hour. They were outstanding. So they were the better side, looked the most threatening, looked the most likely to win. And you look to some players like Ramos and, or mentioned Souness, whoever it would be, have dictated outcomes of games. Not necessarily because a lot of the listeners wouldn't necessarily have seen some of the things that I'm speaking about here, but it's happened and it's continuously happened across the course of the game. So you see, I don't know. I mean, I always think back to play acting from the Israel keeper when we were playing against Israel all those years ago.
Yeah.
You know, you can think of many things that have riled supporters and players alike up, but invariably they get away with it, and that's why they're remembered. That's why Ramos is remembered, not necessarily for his big game moments in scoring in Champions League finals, but he's remembered for this type of thing. That's what he's done continuously.
One texter, I genuinely admire Ramos. 4 La Ligas, 4 Champions Leagues, 2 European Cups, the World Cup. He knows how to win. Sorry, what brought that up to my head, Will, that's your next story. Mo Salah's been talking about his World Cup chances.
Yeah, he says he's still confident he can play in the World Cup with Egypt despite suffering that shoulder injury in Liverpool's Champions League final defeat. It seems it might be a sprain as opposed to a dislocation, which would be good news for him. He scored scored 44 goals for Liverpool this year, was forced off midway through that defeat 3-1 against Real Madrid on Saturday. Salah has tweeted today to say he's a fighter and he's very confident he'll be back in time for the World Cup. Egypt have their first group game in just over 3 weeks' time, so it could be enough time for him to come back.
What about Karius then? Here's a grim question. Which was the worst of his 2 mistakes?
First one.
I genuinely, I think the first one's a bizarre goal. Why does he throw it underarm? Why doesn't he just throw it overarm? Take all doubt out of it. That's the thing. That's just sloppiness.
It's a nice height for Benzema.
Yeah, at that level, it's not. It doesn't happen. It's not as if he picks it up quickly and then balls it. He has a second to reflect. He sees the position that Benzema's in. He can just dude, you've seen a lot
overarm.
It's
That's the thing, is that he was fully aware of where Benzema was. This wasn't Robbie Keane sneaking out from behind a goalkeeper and making him look silly.
Yeah.
He knew Benzema was in proximity.
I know.
It's just awful. I mean, I was wondering which was the worst mistake. If you're thinking about this guy's career going forward and who's going to sign him, I was almost thinking, will future managers look at the Benzema mistake and say, well, that's just freakish and he'll never do that again. Whereas with Bale's second goal, Madrid's third, that's like your bread and butter as a goalkeeper. That's the exact type of scenario he's going to have to deal with repeatedly again and again and again, and he made a mess of that.
Yeah.
I wonder if you're thinking about signing this guy, because I presume his Liverpool career is over now. I'd be surprised.
It's going to be hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to be hard.
So I wonder if a future manager might think, the Benzema thing, it's freakish. The Bale goal, not the overhead kick. Although Stephen Hunt thinks he should have saved the overhead kick.
He actually just stopped though. If you see it, he just stopped.
Stephen Hunt said he needed to step across and be in a position to dive.
But I think that's just it's the unexpected, isn't it? He doesn't know that's going to come. That's the thing. And I think Bale's goals are unique in the fact is it wasn't actually a great cross from Marcelo. So for him to adjust and get that shot on target was the skill in itself.
Liam Brady made that point that when Marcelo hit that cross, the Liverpool defence and I presume Karius would have been quite happy.
Yeah,
it's behind everyone.
Yeah,
we're fine. And maybe Karius switched off for a second because you couldn't predict it was coming.
Yeah, that's the thing. I disagree with Stephen. The fact is that he maybe should save it because the fact is it's just the unexpected. So that is the thing. The second Bale goal, I mean, it is basic. It is basic. You know, you don't want to go on. Everybody would know that is a basic error. But if you watch him when he makes his save, Karius, everything he does, he would really want to keep hold of the ball. He punches and palms everything away when he's making his saves. You only need to look at the semi-final against Roma.
Against Roma, Dzeko, he put the ball straight back out.
The chance that they had in the early game at Anfield, he let one through his hands and hit the bar. I think it was from Kolarov. Yeah. Kolarov hits a strike. He doesn't try to catch balls. He tries to palm them away or push them away. That was why it's uncertain when he's trying to catch a ball. That's the way it looked to me. So he's not comfortable when it's a ball. It wasn't a great strike. It was a decent strike from Bale on target. Yes,
35 yards out as well.
If there's any doubt, he just palm it away. You take your normal action, but there's probably so much doubt in his mind after making that first mistake. It's just a fundamental error. That's probably what it is.
Where are we going next, Will?
Well, we know there's a new club now for Stuart Olding. He has signed for Brive, who are now in the French second flight after their demotion from the top 14. The 25-year-old had been without a team since having his contract revoked by Ulster and the RFU in March. He signed a 2-year contract with Brive, and he will now be playing perhaps significantly under former Ulster and Lions lock Jeremy Davidson, who was very recently appointed as the head coach of the French side. Jared Payne, meanwhile, says he wants to repay the faith which has been shown in him by Ulster Rugby. The 32-year-old's been forced to call time in his playing career due to a head injury he picked up with the Lions last summer. He's become the province's new defence coach. He also had a ruptured spleen, which had really restricted his playing time the season before. Payne will also be going off with the Ireland coaching team for this summer's tour of Australia as well.
We'll talk to Eddie O'Sullivan and Shane Jennings after 8 o'clock.
Elsewhere, Kildare manager Cian O'Neill says they were outworked, outfought and outplayed in yesterday's Leinster Senior Football Championship quarter-final defeat to Carlow. Carlow won by 2 goals and 14 points to 1 goal and 10 in Tullamore, remarkably kicking no wides in the entire game. It was their first championship victory over the Lily Whites in 65 years. It also means we'll have a Division 4 football team in the Leinster final for the first time since 1997. Kildare haven't won a game so far this year, and O'Neill says some reflection is now needed.
We're outworked, outfought, outplayed, and that's a travesty, you know, for the work that the lads have put in, you know, and something I need to look at from my performance is something the management do as a whole. The backroom team, we all need to look at ourselves now because we're in the back door, and you know, Kildare have been known as a backdoor team over the last number of years. It's never the way you want to go, but we just got to turn it around and prepare for it.
Carlo can now look forward to a derby against their neighbours Laois in the semi-finals, a repeat of the Division 4 League final, which was won by Laois. And boss Turlough O'Brien says it'll be an occasion to savour on June the 10th.
I think it's going to be a cracking game in Croke Park. It's a very strong rivalry between Carlo and Laois along the border there, and hopefully it'll be third time lucky for Carlo, and nobody should miss the trilogy in Croke Park, so it'll be a game to remember.
Yeah, amazing stuff. So we're just jam-packed this evening, so we're going to do hurling 7:30. Colin Cooper's in after 8:30. We've Monday Night Rugby at 8. We'll probably have more of a focus on the football tomorrow, maybe get Turlough on the show. Amazing what's going on down in Carlo. I'd say the sun is fairly sweet today around Carlo. Ice creams for everyone.
Yeah. Well, look, they've got that semi-final now to look forward to, Joe, and you know at this stage that either Laois or Carlo are 2 games away from the Super 8s, and one of those games is going to be a Leinster final. Start of the year, I don't think either county could have imagined that was going to happen.
No, it's amazing. There's somebody texting in about the bench, obviously, on Saturday, which was such a key factor.
Kenny pointed out, Kenny was on at me last week, and he kept on saying before one time, we need to talk about the bench before when we were doing the show last Thursday night, or last Wednesday night. We need to talk about the bench. It's going to have a huge influence on the game. I was surprised Bale didn't start personally. I think he's been the player. He's been the player of Real Madrid over the last month or so.
Yeah.
But maybe understandable with what's happening getting into the final, where Bale's not had too much of an impact in the last few games. But he came on and made an impact all right, didn't he?
Kenny was spot on. I mean, when they changed the midfield shape from a diamond, the game just opened up for Real Madrid with Bale.
Yeah. It was also just so striking that Klopp had nothing. I mean, Lallana comes on, clearly nowhere near fit, and then you look at the rest of the Liverpool bench, and if you're Klopp, your hands are tied.
Lallana,
It's the press though, isn't it, what Liverpool lost out, and Liverpool were quite content to allow Real Madrid to have the ball with no threat. As soon as Liverpool went hunting, they were able to get the ball back quickly, they were able to break. Salah was in the match, Mane, for me, they were all looking so good, the movement was excellent, even from the midfielders behind, the press was there. As soon as Liverpool lost that, it just seemed...
They had one touch in the final third after that to Real Madrid's 56, after the Salah incident.
Yeah.
But we're dominating before that. I know statistics and damn lies and everything, but it did seem like the turning point of the game.
It was. And yes, maybe the cynic might say, well, look, Liverpool should have had an ulterior plan. They should have been able to do other things. They should have been able to compose themselves. But clearly, that rocked them because they were on top at that spell. How long did it take for him to come off? Probably the initial foul, which was 5 minutes, whatever it was, or 3 minutes, whatever it was. Then he managed to get himself going again, went down again. That was another 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Liverpool were clearly rocked, and the momentum went out of the game from Liverpool.
It was instant when Salah went off. Madrid just suddenly started dominating. Like it was like they were in shock.
Kroos and Modric. Modric was great, wasn't he?
He's amazing.
Modric was class. He's how he takes the ball as well under pressure at times. He was taking the sting out of the game, killing the game, and
he literally never uses his left foot though. Modric, a former Spurs, I think it was Jermaine Genius.
Dave McIntyre will be having palpitations.
I know
it was not being able to use.
I know that was the
his
thing.
Foot.
It might have been Genius. It was a former teammate at Spurs, maybe on that 1 to 11 show on Sky Sports, and Modric was in his team, and he was saying the one thing though is he completely destroys the rule that you have to be 2-footed. He refuses to use his left foot ever. Yeah. He'll soon. And I was watching. Since then, I've watched him, and it's really true. Like even the other night, he should have crossed one with his left, and he's just outside of the right foot.
But the thing is that I think Dave would make the argument of that a player has to be 2-foot, and I totally disagree with it because I see obviously he'd be an exception that he's literally he's totally 1-footed. Of course, you're going to use your wrong foot at times, but
he's very 1-footed. Xavi was very 1-footed.
Of course, there's so many.
Ramos is filth, but Liverpool way too nice after the incident. Keane, Souness would have been on Ramos or in his face like rabid dogs, and that's how you have to deal with them, says Ronan. I wonder, should Liverpool have turned it into an absolute fight then?
Well, yeah.
They have the players to do that though.
Oh, well, that's a
fair
question.
They have a very nice midfield. And
yeah.
Maybe you're right. It's a great point.
If there was a proper TMO system, Ramos would have been sent off, therefore a completely different game.
I don't think he'd been sent off for that. Generally, I don't think he'd been sent off for that. I think it would have been a yellow card, yeah.
Sweaty Shane is onto us after his run in the Phoenix Park. Sweaty Shane wondering, if you were part of that Liverpool team, how would you react in the dressing room with Karius?
Oh, I mean, I've heard things said that all the Liverpool players should have been over to Karius immediately after the game. You can imagine the emotions that the players are feeling once they're so gutted. It's not so much thinking yourself, but it's just you just trying to reflect on the game and you're that gutted. I think in general they all would have put their arm around Karius. Definitely, 100% would have put their arm around him. Definitely.
He said they did. He did an interview. We played out in the football show after 9, and he said they all tried to cheer me up. He said now it was a very quiet dressing room, but they were over to me. Like when it cut to Henderson and Milner, at the full-time whistle, they were all just hunched over themselves.
Yeah.
Like they were fatigued. Milner was wrecked in the last.
Yeah, I genuinely don't buy the fact that if anyone suggests that the player should have gone over to him immediately, no, because you're that good. You just can't. You're not thinking like that. But there would have been a general. Throughout the side, coaching staff and everyone would have been a lot of compassion towards him. Totally.
Not to bring up Stephen Hunt again, but he argued that was another sign they were sick of him.
Hunty's on fire.
He is.
Hunty's on fire. No, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I mean, the only thing you've played in big games when you see lads that have had, obviously something's gone wrong for them, and it's just your own emotions are taking over with that. Yes, when you get to the dressing room, your own disappointment. Yeah. When you get to the dressing room, that's when you'll be able to reflect on things and go and have those sort of conversations.
Yeah, Trob's a text, if you can remember. I can't think of another player being so at fault so horrifically in such a big game. I can't think. Before we go to the ad break into the hurling, we should will mention the qualifier draw just in case people haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, Kildare travelled to Derry in the first round. Difficult draw for them in 2 weeks' time. Last year's beaten finalist Mayo back going to Limerick again, where they had that famous game a few years ago with the supporter coming onto the pitch as well. Meath will host Tyrone. Offaly will play Antrim in the Championship for the very first time. There's a derby between Wexford and Waterford, which has also never happened before. Armagh will look to knock out Westmeath for the second successive year when they meet in Mullingar. Wicklow, after their defeat against Dublin yesterday, are at home to Cavan, and Louth will travel to London.
Okay. Every day this week we are teaming up with Expert Electrical to give you the chance to win a brand new LG 49-inch TV just in time for the World Cup. Expert Electrical, Ireland's largest electrical retailer with 67 stores nationwide, all bringing you the latest appliances and tech products. You can pick up their new brochure from June 1st, with each including a free World Cup planner and some chances to win some great prizes. To be in with a chance of bagging your new 49-inch LG TV, simply identify tonight's mystery voice. He was asked to give his take on the standard of the OTB five-a-side matches.
It seems like they go on the pitch with no discipline. A few little nice 1-2s, bit of tippy-tappy football. Don't bother running back.
That's Kev mainly.
It seems like they go on the pitch with no discipline. A few little nice 1-2s, bit of tippy-tappy football. Don't bother running back.
If you know how that is, text your name and answer to 53106 at a cost of 30 cents and you're in the draw. We're taking a short break, so we've got Shane Jennings, Eddie O'Sullivan after 8 o'clock, Colin Cooper also between 8 and 9. We're talking Champions League primarily between 9 and 10, as well as the Ireland-France match. And up next, Tommy Dunn, Dahi Regan on the weekend's hurling.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
In association with the Air Sport app, allowing you to cast your favourite sporting action from your tablet or mobile phone straight to your TV.
The Moncrief Show is on the road again, and this time we're coming to beautiful Killarney. We're going to kick off your weekend with a special 2 hours of movies and booze from the Great Southern in Killarney, where we'll be tasting some lovely craft beers for the June bank holiday weekend. Join us in the audience to taste some lovely beers, have good food, enjoy some great music and everything else Movies and Booze has to offer. For tickets, go to newstalk.com/events and follow the link.
Movies and Booze on Moncrief.
Proudly sponsored by Carry Out Off Licence.
This and every Friday on News Talk.
Make your prepaid top-up go further with Air. For just €20, Air gives you unlimited access to YouTube, social networks and messaging. And a further 15 gigs of 4G data. And unlimited calls to any network. And switch today to get €120 free credit. All on Air's super-fast 4G mobile network. Go in store or search Air 20. Air. Let's make possible. Available on Air Simplicity, €120 free credit subject to registration, minimum top-ups and switching your number to Air. For full terms, details and fair usage, see air.ie.
If you had 48 hours with a Mini, what would you get up to? Do you follow your head or your heart? Why not both? Turn a different corner. Find a new path. Take off on a mini adventure. Bring the whole family. Come on. And pick up a few friends along the way. Whatever challenge your lifestyle throws up, there's a Mini in the 182 range to match. Meet your match. Book your 48-hour test drive on mini.ie and find exceptional offers across the entire range.
It's the ultimate food lovers festival. Taste of Dublin, inspired by Neff, returns to the Ivy Gardens from the 14th to the 17th of June. Join the summer's biggest and best foodie event, led by world-class chefs with top restaurants, interactive masterclasses, incredible drinks and live entertainment. Join the Food Lovers Playground at Taste of Dublin, Ivy Gardens, June 14th to 17th. Book now. Tickets on sale at tasteofdublin.ie. Booking fees apply.
Newstalk's Happily Hired, brought to you by Jobbio.
Jobbio is the place where millions of talented people find their dream job. Apply privately and directly to thousands of companies using one professional profile. Stop arsing around and apply today to work as an application support specialist (ASS) at GBE. Deloitte are looking for a robotic process automation consultant. And finally, MongoDB need a corporate paralegal. To find a job you love or make your next dream hire, visit Newstalk.